So yes, that's what my brakes look like on my 2017 F250 with a 6.2 liter. Now this truck is pretty much stock at the moment, but I am planning to put a Whipple supercharger on it. Before I do that, I want to make sure that all the brakes are good. This side is metal to metal, and you can see all the metal shavings on the wheel already. I've been driving it like that because it's my personal truck, and for some reason I never have time to work on my personal cars. Like, this thing needs brakes, tires. I bought some shocks like 3-4 months ago, never upgraded them. These are Bilsteins V8s. I always go with these because it's such a good ride after that, especially with these big tires and wheels. But these tires are pretty much gone and they're dry rotted. I'm gonna have to replace those next. But today I just want to get the front brakes replaced. Probably brakes, pads, rotors. One rotor for sure, so I might as well change them both. Oh yeah, and also for some reason I have an exhaust leak. I'm not sure why that would happen.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
But it's leaking, so I want to get an upgraded exhaust for this, but for now I'm gonna get that crack welded up wherever it is and go from there. So the biggest problem I had with this was when I drive, especially when I'm towing, I would it would pull to the right for some reason. So the thing about brakes is you gotta have them to stop. It's always good when you have that locking tool, especially where you can find it. Well, I just broke it. Well, this just means I get to drive the Dark Horse to Discount Tire to get a replacement. Picked up 2 sockets just in case I break another one, but I do think that these were probably over torqued, and I'm just gonna not use the impact to loosen them, but I'm gonna use a breaker bar and loosen all of them and then take them out the rest of the way with the impact. But I do have an extra just in case. You know what? This rotor might still be usable. I just gotta go take it in to a machine shop or O'Reilly's and get it resurfaced, I think, because it's, you know, it's not that bad. It's still got some life in it. There's still plenty of metal left. No, this is ridiculous. I was towing cars like this. I just don't have time to work on my own cars. See, what the problem is one of these pins is seized. Like this one, you see it moves freely, and this one is seized up. So I'm gonna attempt to clean it up and see if I can. If not, I'm gonna buy the kit and just replace the pins. And that is why my brakes work like 30%. Also, a lot of times what I see on these F250 Super Duties 2011 and up, maybe older, is the pistons and the caliper itself, they crack, and that's also a problem. But these calipers, you can get aftermarket one for about $100 or so. These rotors though are like $200 a piece, I believe, last time I checked. So this caliper is actually good. I'm gonna go ahead and compress it and then remove the caliper bracket and get this rotor off, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side, and hopefully I can save this rotor. If not, I'm just gonna buy 2 new ones and some new pads. Let's go. These are probably original rotors. Truck has about 110,000 miles or so. So there's a little bit of light rust, which is nothing crazy for a 6-year-old truck. And most of it is actually like dirt. I'm not sure why there would be mud in here. Weird. So anytime you have a pad that's not evenly worn, like this one has more wear on this end than that one, that means your caliper pin is seized, either one or both. And that's my case here. I'm trying to get this pin out. See how this one moves freely? I'm trying to get this one out so I can clean it up, lubricate it, clean up the bracket, and reassemble. This one's not too bad. Sometimes they don't want to come out at all, so this will be reused. Depending on the other side. If the other side's the same, I'll clean them both up and be done with it. So the caliper bracket pin's actually cleaned up pretty nice. I mean, this one doesn't look that great, but it's actually, it goes in and out freely. So, and that's what you want. So what I do at this point is I take some synthetic caliper grease and I apply it. Doesn't have to be crazy amount, but I'll apply it and then just put it in, and that way it's not going to seize up on me again. So these pins are fine, but I'm still gonna take them out and lube them up. But these are perfectly fine. And these pads actually were not bad. They're evenly worn. Just one's a little bit thinner than the other, but good to go. And the main thing is, this caliper is also good. It's not cracked or anything. That's what I was worried about, because when you replace the caliper, then you gotta bleed the brakes and this and that. So at this point, if I'm able to save the rotors, which I know I can, these rotors are not bad at all. Like, besides that one that got damaged from the pad being down to the metal. So I'm gonna take this one off, run it to O'Reilly's. If I can get them resurfaced, that's fine. I'll drop it off. It's gonna take like an hour. While I'm waiting for them though, I'm gonna come back and replace the shocks, clean everything up a little bit more, just so when I get them back, I can actually just assemble everything and be done with it. I just cleaned everything up on both sides as best as I could. I mean, it doesn't have to be spotless, but I got most of the surface rust off with some brake cleaner, some air, compressed air. And the good news is I just went to O'Reilly's and dropped off the rotors, and they said that they're still good. They're gonna turn them, and they're gonna be refurbished and good to go. So I'm gonna get those in a couple hours. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and swap over the shocks. They're Bilstein's B8s, and I always get these for my trucks because it's like a whole new truck. And this thing with the big wheels, like I mentioned earlier, this thing shakes and rides weird, so hopefully the shocks will help. And also I'll have brakes again, and also I'm gonna look for some new tires as well. Let me know what tires I should get for this. They're 35s, 20-inch wheel. The cool thing about F250s and Super Duties is that you don't have to remove the whole strut like an F150 to replace the shock. The shocks are just held to the frame and to the axle, so it takes a lot less work. This one's a little bit seized up, but it's okay. I've got a wrench right here holding it, and I'm just gonna send it. There we go. Very curious to see if this one's actually bad. Yep. So that's supposed to extend. So this shock was no good. This truck is gonna ride so good. There's really nothing to it to replace these. You just reuse the bottom bolt with the nut, and the top, there's 2 bushings, and they're all labeled, so you can't really go wrong. You just retighten everything and that's it. Not only that it looks good, it's gonna ride good. I can't wait to drive this. Passenger side complete. On to the next one. All 4 shocks were bad. One was bent for some reason, not sure why. But all 4 shocks are brand new now. And this thing is gonna ride like a dream, especially when I get new tires, because these are old and dry rotted. So now I'm gonna go back to O'Reilly's, get the resurfaced rotors, and then pick up some new pads, and I'll be able to assemble this. And I can't wait to drive it because this thing is gonna be smooth. So O'Reilly's did an awesome job resurfacing these rotors, and actually the one that I was worried about, that was metal to metal, was in better shape than the other side. The other side was actually more warped and took longer, but 3 hours later and $60 I guess for both, I got some good fresh rotors and some brand new brake pads. Well, there's only one thing left to do, and that's take it on a test drive. So let's see how she does. Pump the brake a few times. So I didn't get a chance to weld this up, but what I'm going to do in the future is just going to get rid of this section. I think this is probably the resonator, maybe? I don't know what this does, but it's getting straight pipe from here to here because it's already connected there anyways. So let's drive this thing. So there is still a little bit of vibration, but it's coming from the tires. They're all choppy and old and dry rotted. That's how I bought these wheels with those old tires on it, just to put them on. But now the next step, I guess, is to get some decent tires. Probably gonna go with some kind of all-terrain 35 inch, but it actually drives very smooth with the shocks, and when you brake it doesn't pull to the side like it used to, so I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. So it took like most of the day to do this, but I actually ended up saving money because I didn't have to buy rotors, my calipers were good, and got some nice pads. So there it is, a Fomoco original part. There's 3 bolts that secure it, and then 2 nuts for the wiring, positive and ground, I guess. So it should be pretty quick. And then I got some oil. There's the oil filter part number, and I am using the Ford Motorcraft recommended 5W30 synthetic blended. It holds about 7 quarts, I believe. So let's get to work. Not bad at all. On some cars you got to remove like 14 different parts around the engine just to get this out, like exhaust, motor mount, this and that. But this is just 3 bolts, and they're kind of rusted, but they came out without breaking, which is nice. So out with the old and with the new. Guess which one's old, which one's new? It's a 50-50 chance. It's looking good. Got it connected. Let's see if it starts. Flawless. You know what's not flawless? My exhaust. oil's been changed. This thing holds 7 quarts according to Google, and that's exactly what I put in there. Now all I gotta do is reset it on the dash here. All you gotta do is go to settings, advanced settings, vehicle, oil life reset 0, and we're about to press and hold. Oil life set to 100. So all I did was use these buttons here to go up and down and click OK and then hold OK, and it resets it back to 100%, which is good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start it, let it warm up. That exhaust is crazy. It sounds good, but I need to get it fixed. I also ordered a remote start about a year ago and I never installed it. I think now would be a good time because it's getting cold. It's been cold and I've been slacking. This is the part number. This should be a plug and play. This is a Ford OEM kit, so it should plug in, and then I'm gonna hook up ForceScan or IDS. I think I can do it with ForceScan and just activate the remote start, and by pressing lock twice or 3 times it should start the truck. So I'm about to find out if it does. So this is what the kit comes with. There's a jumper wire, there's then a module and some zip ties and a little jumper here. Comes with the owner manual but no installation manual, but I think I seen that on the website where I bought this from, and I'm gonna go pull it up and hopefully I can get this installed real quick and get it working. So instructions are pretty simple. I guess if I didn't have a hood latch, which I do on this truck, I would have to add one into the BCM connector over there on the passenger side, but I do have that. So all I have to do is just take this jumper harness and unplug the OBD, plug this in, jump it, and then plug in the module and zip tie it somewhere underneath the dash, and then later I just go with the IDS, or I think I can use ForceScan and I can activate the remote start. But I think I can do it with ForceScan, so hopefully I can. That way I can get it done right now and get it out of the way, and tomorrow morning it's gonna be cold and I'll get to remote start it. So apparently to remote start it, all you do is lock, unlock, lock, it'll start it, and if you want to turn it off, lock, unlock, lock, turn it off. So that's if you have the blade type key, which is this. And if you watched my videos when I did this rebuild, this truck is an XLT, but I did put leather interior in it, leather dash, leather steering wheel, and I'm actually gonna update the cluster as well to all digital. I found one off on Expedition, so hopefully I can make that work. I plugged it in before and everything lit up and everything shows, but the mileage needs to be corrected. That's one thing. And then the vehicle that the cluster came out of was an Expedition, and you know, it had like the park assist and blind assist and all that, so all the lights are on the dash. So I'll have to go in and disable everything just so I can have a clear dash. So I got the module up here. It's this one. I've got it zip tied and plugged in. Got the jumper for the OBD2 connector plugged in. So at this point I haven't programmed anything or activated, but I'm gonna try to just close the hood and see if it'll start. Nope, gotta activate it. So I was able to activate the remote start with ForceScan. All I did was connect to the vehicle and check DTCs. I have no DTCs, but if you do, I think you should probably clear them and see what comes back. But anyways, the way I got the remote start is I went to configuration and programming, and then I went to BCM, body control module configuration, basically, and you hit play on the bottom. It runs through everything, and this is all your stuff that you can enable and disable. So you scroll down to ours, which is down here, and here we go, remote start. This right here was disabled, and what I did was I clicked on that and then edit selected, and then you click enable, check mark, and then hit right. Not gonna do it because I just did it, and so I have the remote start set to 15 minutes, and that's the longest you can do, so I'll leave it at that. You don't need IDS, which I'm kind of glad. I thought I was gonna have to go to the shop and do this with IDS, but ForScan is a great system, and it works for me on all my Ford vehicles. I use it all the time, so we'll just check for codes one more time. No codes detected. So now got the remote right here, so you hit lock, unlock, and lock. I didn't do it right. Lock, unlock, lock. Boom, it started. So of course if you hit the brake and touch the shifter, it's gonna turn off, but you actually have to put the key in, turn it, and then you have full power and you can drive off. So very cool system. I got the kit off eBay, but it came straight from a Ford dealer, and it was around $200, which is totally worth it because you just plug in a couple things and activate it, and you got remote start, and you know, there you go. Unfortunately, I could not get this digital cluster to work out of an Expedition. I mean, everything works, but this vehicle it came out of has like the cross assist, lane assist, and all kinds of stuff. So there's a bunch of lights on the dash, and I try to disable it with ForScan, and it just won't go through the programming process. I might try again with IDS. If anybody has any hints or suggestions on how to do it, let me know. But like I said, everything works. It's just I can't make those changes to fit this truck. So, but at least I got the remote start working, so that's a huge plus. Lock, unlock, lock. Flawless. New starter, fresh oil, and remote start. I like that. I need to figure out what this code is also. But that's gonna be it, I think, for this one. So like, share, and subscribe. Later.